All of the information we've covered in our previous videos, the idea of self-stigma, options for disclosure, how and when you disclose, what you do when you choose to disclose, all of that is relevant information that can help your loved one along their journey in their decision-making process, and it being modeled by the two of you can be really, really beneficial. By seeing the decisions you make about sharing, it gives them a guide as to how they can go about it, and the pros and cons are laid out right there for them because they've seen it happen in action. Carla, can you share about how Jessie has started to make some independent choices to share because she's seen it modeled by you?
Well, I think, when you live with mental illness, you're making that decision every single day. And she is doing that. She's at 16, going out into the world, going to school, seeing friends, texting with friends, getting on social media, and choosing all by herself, which is pretty exciting for me. Wisely, I think, to share what her challenges are on any given day. And I hope I had a role in that, in her feeling free to do that, and in her feeling free not to do that when she doesn't want to. I have to admit, I think I've learned as much from her about stigma and sharing as she has learned from me. And sometimes I think the modeling I've provided for her, the most important modeling hasn't been about sharing her story, but about sharing my own story, because I had to overcome a lot of internalized stigma to start seeking help for myself, to start getting support for my compassion fatigue, to move from saying I'm a hateful, mean person and a terrible parent to a space where I could say, I need some support. I have some unmet needs. I need therapy. For a time, I needed medication to help me with depression. So I hope that by also sharing openly in an advocacy setting and through my writing about my own journey, that has helped her see that it's safe for her to do the same thing. But I continue to feel that, we're hand in hand. Part of me hopes we always will be, but it's also possible she'll grow up and just sort of say, that's it, Mom. You just give me some space here. Yeah. But it's, it never stops, right? This is who we are. And I think that's, there's no cure, there's no fix. There's just carrying on from day to day and staying alive for the next day and the next day and the next day, because it's worth it.
Yeah. And by you owning that and showing that process, she is a great example for what a safe space can feel like and what benefit it can have to sharing her journey. Troni, I'm sure that as you share your journey, you're modeling for those around you what benefit it can be to do so. And we know that it's really important to include those loved ones in the decision-making process if we decide to disclose. Troni, it sounds like you've put a lot of thought to that. I'm wondering if you can share a bit more with us about that.
Yes, it is very important to include our loved ones in the decision-making process. And unfortunately, I don't have the opportunity to include my brother in this process. So I work and try to model for my son what that can look like, or present different options for him when he decides, or if he ever decides to disclose. Because ultimately it's his choice. I just want to be there for him when he decides to, or however he decides.
Well, thank you both for being part of these conversations.
Thank you.
It's important that we share this stuff with others so that they feel empowered to take the option to share if they want to. So I appreciate your willingness to be vulnerable with us and share your journey too.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure getting to know you, Troni.
It's a pleasure getting to know you too, Carla.
This has been the final video of a 4-part series on the Up to Me curriculum. I'm Hannah with Rogers Behavioral Health and the WISE Coalition.